What up? It's your boy Nick Incredible, and this is Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Episode 8, The Elysian Kingdom. And I gotta say, man, I didn't know where they were going, but I love when they got there. Let's talk about it.
I just wanna be known, I just wanna be home. Feel like I'm all alone and I need to do it on my own. I just wanna be known, I just wanna be home.
I love this episode. I mean, I probably shouldn't love it as much as I did. I mean, because it got a little weird, but I love this episode, man. It was a great episode. I know I've been saying that, but these last couple episodes have been hitting on so many levels, and I know it's not for everybody, but this episode in particular, it was good for me, man. It was really, really good. And like I said, didn't know where they were going, but I love how they got there, man. This episode, we start off, we see that Mbanga's there with his daughter reading her the book, and she's enjoying the book, and she's loving it. Granted, she's read it a couple times already, and we know this, but she doesn't like maybe midway through to the story where some of the characters kind of have to sacrifice something and give up. And in that moment, I kind of knew that that was going to be a trend in the episode. I didn't know where or how it was going to play, but I knew having to sacrifice something was going to come back into play. And Mbunga's still racking his brain trying to figure out a way to save her, because putting her in the buffer is not working as well as it used to. You know what I'm saying? She's staying out, she wants to stay out a little longer, and then putting her back in the buffer, and her cancer's starting to progress just a little bit more. And it's not really working. Anything he's tried, nothing's really fixing anything. And he's at his wit's end, and he's running rampant. He's tired. He can't really perform his doctor duties or chief medical officer because he's so tired from trying to save his daughter. And number one understands this, but she orders him to get rest. And then this stuff happens, man. Like they're trapped in their space. Stuff is going to happen in the space. So they're surveying this nebula, and all of a sudden they end up stuck. To be fair, Spock told Pike not to jinx it, and Pike jinxed it, and they ended up getting stuck. And boom, bam, next thing you know, we're inside this story. I did not know where they were going with this story, man. And then seeing all of these people and all of these different, attire and different roles that was going on. Good thing we had Mbanga there, to give us a little reference, because we didn't know anything that was going on with this story. We only heard bits and pieces over the 7 episodes already anyway, so we didn't have enough context. But good thing Mbanga had his wits about him, so he was able to give us a little reference to these characters and everything. And I gotta say, man, huge shout out to development and the whole studio as a whole, because they put in work to design the ship to look like a little forest or a kingdom or whatever, man. They really put in work. Now, I know they had limited space to really work with, and they really couldn't do too much, but they really, really sold it. Now, it wasn't trying to hide much. It still kept the whole overall premise, but, and, we had him and Hammer where they knew that they still had their senses, but I like the aesthetic. It sold apart for what they were going for. You know what I'm saying? And as we found out later in the story, that this nebula is sentient and it has its own mind and everything, and it kind of connected with Mbanga's daughter, and that's where the story came about. But I love the fact that everybody had this role to play, and yet again, I love Pike. Pike played this role to perfection. Remind me to never leave the castle again. Ow. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Pike played this role, man. I don't know. Watching the episode, I was just thinking, I was like, I don't know where this is going. Like, I shouldn't love this as much as I do, man. Like, I was laughing. I was enjoying myself. I was having a ball watching this episode. And it was so great, man. But anyway, Mbanga being the king, he played that part, when he needed to. But I just really loved Pike. But to be fair, in my opinion, La'an takes it hands down. Pike played his part, Spock played his part, Uhura played her part. Everybody done good in their little role that they were doing from this book. But La'an won it for me. And can I just say, we all know La'an was fine anyway, but like when she came in here with this little princess role and she was looking great and everything with the little itty bitty dog, La'an was super fine in this episode, man. And then I just loved her character when she started singing, and it's like, I will sing a song for you if you die in battle. Oh, it was great. It was too great, man. The episode was fantastic, but that laughter and that enjoyment didn't really carry over to the ending of the episode. We see that Hammer is the only one that's left with his, his wits about him, if you will, and him and Mbanga's trying to figure out what's wrong and try to save everybody else, and that's where we get the overall story from with Mbanga's daughter and the Nebula sentient being, aka Deborah, and that's where the story kind of shifted because Mbanga figured out everything, towards the end of the episode that, well, all of this changed from the original way. This isn't how it goes in the book, and he realized that this is the story that his daughter wanted the story to be told about. And he realized that he went to meet with her and everything after Pike had betrayed him. And we see that very early on in the episode, you notice that, like I said, that sacrifice was going to come into play. And we see that at the very ending of the episode where Mbanga had to make that sacrifice with his daughter. And the sad thing is that he was okay with it. He was hurt for sure. And I was heartbroken over here, man, because we had been laughing the entire time. And then it just got super serious and super heavy. And Mbanga gave up his daughter because the Nebula was the only way to keep her safe and alive. Because if the Nebula had freed them, the cancer would return to her body. But she could live in the Nebula with Deborah and be fine and not have to worry about the cancer or anything like that. And Mbanga was hurt for sure. He didn't want to give up his daughter, but he done it. At least he got to see her grow up in that instant. And it had been a few seconds for him, but like she said, it's been years and probably decades for her. And he got to see her fully grown and got to have that final goodbye. And then we jump back into the present where everything's going on and nobody remembers anything. Even Hammer, even though, he kind of remembered during the story of it, but now he doesn't remember anything. And what I loved is that, Mbanga has this story that he can kind of keep to himself. He shared it with Una at the end of the episode, but for 5 hours, nobody knew what was going on with the entire ship. But I love this episode, and I feel like it was great to see that Mbanga got that spotlight. Sure, it's sad that it was around the time where he had to say goodbye to his daughter, but she's not dead, you know what I'm saying? So he'll see her again eventually, but I'm glad that he did get that spotlight because it was a character worth spotlighting in a moment that needed to be highlighted, and they gave him that, and they gave him that farewell as well, if you will. And I really thoroughly enjoyed this episode, man. Like I said, the comedy was slapping, but when it got super serious, it got like real serious, man, and very emotional. And overall, the episode was great. I enjoyed it. I loved it. And I know some people may have some ups and downs about it, but I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. And La'an, this is really incredible. Don't forget to smash the like button until you can't smash any more. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them and subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. Peace out.